Hello everyone and welcome to another Directions Mag Geospatial webinar, today sponsored by our friends over at VertiGIS. I'm Barbara Duke, Managing Editor here at Directions Magazine, joined by our webinar producer Lynette Qualia. We encourage you to stop by directionsmag.com for geospatial news, articles, podcasts, and of course more webinars. So we're excited to have Patrick Fingler back with us today to talk about using web GIS to solve complex problems and building apps. So Patrick, over to you. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Barbary. It's happy to be back. For those who don't know me, my name's Patrick Fingler. Like many of the folks on the call, I too have a GIS background and I work for VertiGIS here. Today we're going to be covering how to leverage WebGIS technology to solve complex problems and build the apps you need. And we're going to be walking through some examples of how to do this using software called VertiGIS Studio, which actually used to be called GeoCortex, just recently underwent a name change. And before diving in, so again, we work with a lot of organizations that are leveraging, ArcGIS technology using ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. There's a plethora of out-of-the-box applications and configurable apps that you have available, from Web App Builder, Experience Builder to Survey 123 and so on. As organizations leverage these apps and tools that Esri provides, we still find that as their requirements increase, as your requirements continue to increase, and you want to develop GIS solutions, there can be a custom development gap. And where we come in is we provide software such as VertiGIS Studio, which is a rapid application development framework to streamline that process from going from a configurable application like Web App Builder, where you might be running into limitations, and start diving into custom widget development. We provide a framework that shortens that gap through a more configurable experience and allows you to deliver GIS solutions in a shortened amount of time. So we'll be covering how to do this with an example scenario today. Again, just to reiterate, VertiGIS Studio is a collection of products for extending Esri's ArcGIS technology. So we already build on top of your existing investment. So whether you're using ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise, we have tools that allow you to go further and build more sophisticated tools using our products rather than having to do full-on custom development. So the example scenario that we're going to be covering today is, let's say you're a GIS analyst and you've been tasked with developing an app, a WebGIS app for visualizing and editing and configuring work orders. As your requirements increase, maybe you're being asked to then generate PDF reports against these work order assets. So we'll be covering how to do that today. Maybe your different staff or your managers now asked you to then integrate these GIS work orders with an enterprise asset management system, such as CityWorks or Novatics Elements XS or Maximo or another tool. So we'll be highlighting how you can use our tools to build these deeper integrations that are connected to your GIS. It sounds like a number of folks also are being requested to build dashboards. So we'll be highlighting how to build dashboards to get a live view of the status of these work orders. And then lastly, if we have time, we're going to be highlighting how to build customized offline applications for creating work orders, syncing them with your GIS and so on. So with that, I'd like to spend the majority of the time actually demonstrating the software and showing you how to extend Esri's ArcGIS. So we're going to kick things off here in Web App Builder. So here you can see I'm in Web App Builder, and we've already pretty much completed that step one where we've got a WebGIS application with some work orders on the map. So here you can see I've added a couple of work order features, and we can see we've got some attributes associated with them. And Esri has, a number of out-of-the-box widgets for editing, creating new work orders and so on as well. There's a number of out-of-the-box tools that you get. One thing that's not listed here, though, is a reporting widget. So if you're being tasked with having to generate these PDF reports that contain attributes and maps and so on based on your GIS assets, then that's something you may need to, either do some custom development for, maybe research, GeoNet and try to find some custom widgets. But we do have an easier solution for you in this scenario. So if you navigate to the Arcgis Marketplace, this is one way you can explore and see what other partners are developing that extend Esri's technology. So if we navigate to the ArcGIS Web App Builder widget section here, you can see there's 2 versions of Web App Builder. There's actually 3. There's also the out-of-the-box version that comes with ArcGIS Enterprise. But here you can explore, some of the ways you can extend Web App Builder through some, customized partner solutions. And here you can see we offer a VertiGIS Studio reporting widget that allows you to create PDF reports against your GIS assets. It's also worth mentioning that recently we're actually one of 2 vendors that can also extend Esri's ArcGIS Online version of Web App Builder. So you can also add our widgets to Esri's ArcGIS Online for generating PDF reports, creating custom widgets, and so on as well. Now, these are the widget files that you can get access to and add them to Web App Builder, but complementary to this is we do provide these kind of web-based designers for configuring your reports and custom widgets and so on. And you can access those by navigating to this apps.vertigisstudio.com landing page. And this is where, again, you as a GIS analyst or developer can just launch any of these products, log in with your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise identity, and then start leveraging these tools. And alternatively, you can also install these on-premise as well. I'll be touching on the back-end configuration of these in a moment, but let's go ahead and run a report from Web App Builder. So here you can see I've already added the reporting widget to Web App Builder. And here, once you've added that, anytime you have a selection of features in Web App Builder, so here you can see I've got a single feature that I've selected, you'll have this context menu option to run a report against that feature. So let's go ahead and run a report. And you can see here it's telling me I've got one feature selected. Let's go ahead and run that report. So what's happening in the back end is basically it's passing the object ID of this work order feature to our report template, and then it's going to provide us back with a URL that we can then access and present to our users. So we'll just give that a moment to finish generating. Let's go ahead and open it up. And here, again, this report's been generated on the fly. So we've got a map, including the work order feature. We're dynamically creating a Google Street View image. And then here we can also see we're pulling attribute information from the GIS. We've got some feature attachments being included, as well as a dynamic hyperlink that's actually linking this back to CityWorks. So we can actually open this up in a new window. And we can see I've already logged into our CityWorks environment. Again, this could be a document management system. It could be a different asset management system. But basically here, we can see this is some of the information within CityWorks that's also been synced. Again, if we want to take a look at the back end of where these reports get built, again, you use these web-based designers. So you log in with an ArcGIS Enterprise or ArcGIS Online identity. This is the report template that I've configured. And the first step is to create a data source connection. So you can see here, there's this data sources tab. You can go ahead and click add data source. And we support a number of different data sources. You can connect to non-spatial databases. You can generate reports based on REST API JSON responses. But more commonly, you're going to be connecting to an ArcGIS data source. So basically, you just need to enter in the REST endpoint for that map service or feature service. And then once you do that, you'll get a list of all of the attributes to that. So you have a live connection to that service, and then you can just drag and drop these attributes onto the design surface and then use the tools on the left and the properties to stylize and brand your reports. You'll notice here that I've got some charts listed in here. So there is a charting library included in the report designer. I've actually added some logic in here so that these charts only display if you've got at least 5 work orders selected. But if we scroll down, we can see here, this is the primary report, that we saw. So here we've got a map control. And if we actually edit or go to the properties of this, you can see here, it's just connecting to my web maps hosted within my ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise environment. So again, this is a reporting solution that's completely designed and integrated with your existing ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise environment. And then if we select this picture URL here, and go to this expressions tab, You can see here there's this image URL property where I'm actually dynamically populating this image based on Google Maps, their Street View API, basically. There's a number of other elements in here, but here you can see these are the attributes that are being displayed. And then we've got some attachments being included in this report as well. And these can be single or multi-feature attachments. When you're happy with your report template and you save it, it's going to get stored back inside of your ArcGIS Online or portal as an item that you can then share and secure with different members within your organization. This isn't going to consume any credits or anything like that. Really, it's just a JSON file. And like a web map, you'll be able to assign your sharing privileges to these items that get stored in your portal. So let's jump back to Web App Builder here. Again, here we just ran it off a single feature. You can also run these off of multiple features as well. So here, if we use the selection tool, I can select a couple of work orders here, go ahead and run a report against them. And this is just going to, now I've selected 6 features, it should include some of those charts that I mentioned here. So here we can see we've got some charts showing the breakdown of the types of work orders, the priority and the status. And then we've got, I've decided to not include the maps inside of this particular use case here. So again, you can kind of have these dynamic depending on the types of features that or number of features that you're passing to a report. So the next thing on our task list was integrating with our asset management system. So a great way to do that is through building a workflow. So we do provide a widget called VertiGIS Studio Workflow, which basically allows you to build custom widgets for Web App Builder or Experience Builder for doing more sophisticated processes, from searching for features to editing features and so on. Here I've configured a workflow that first steps the user through actually authenticating and logging into CityWorks. So when I click log in here, I'm making a REST API call to CityWorks. I'm then populating my information in this form, which is fully customizable. And then here we can see we've got some drop-down lists showing the types of work orders. As I select these elements, we've got some cascading logic, and these lists are being populated from CityWorks REST API on the fly. So let's maybe create a work order against a fire hydrant feature. Maybe we need to paint a hydrant. I'll select a point on the map, maybe in this intersection here. We can see we're retrieving the address information from a geocode, and we'll say it's requested medium low, need to paint hydrant, upload an attachment using a file picker. Let's go into our pictures and let's go into our attachments and select the photo here. And I'm going to click Create Work Order. Now, this is going to not only write this content to our GIS database, we can see that just got created, the information we got passed through got included, as well as our attachment, but it's also dynamically pushing this to CityWorks. Again, this could be any REST API, any asset management system like Novatics Elements XS or Maximo. And in this scenario, you can see I've now pushed this content to CityWorks as well as the address information. It's retrieved the work order description as well as the attachment as well. So if we want to take a look at how you'd actually go about building, a custom widget for Web App Builder that, includes these dynamic forms that you can interact with from an end user perspective, this is all built and designed in our workflow designer. So again, like reporting, you're going to log into this web-based designer with an ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise identity. And I'd kind of consider this similar to like Model Builder or FME Workbench, where you're not doing full-on custom development. It's basically like a visual interface for designing custom widgets. And the idea is we provide these activities that actually work across Esri's different JavaScript APIs so that they're also easily maintainable and can be migrated from one environment to another. And they range from kind of common programming logic, like doing if statements and for each loops, to more GIS operations like doing buffers or querying layers, running geoprocessing tasks, calling Esri routing services, editing, and so on. And then also you can send web requests as well to third-party REST APIs, and we also do provide some activities for doing deeper integrations. So here you can see we've got a CityWorks activity pack as well. And now central to this is our display form, where you can design these forms that you can interact for your end users to interact with. So we have a number of different form elements that you can add, and you can place different elements side by side or on top of each other and so on. And you have this intuitive configurable interface for designing these forms for your custom widgets. And then like reporting, it's the same process. When you save a workflow, it's going to get stored back inside of your portal as an item that you can share and secure. I also wanted to mention, again, these workflows can work in both of Esri's 3.x JavaScript API like Web App Builder, but you can see here, I'm also in ArcGIS Experience Builder. I'm not going to rerun the same workflow, but basically here I'm using the Developer Edition. We have widgets that you can download for ArcGIS Experience Builder. And here you can see we're still populating and pulling that information from CityWorks using the same underlying workflow. So again, the nice thing is you kind of build it once and then you can migrate it to these different environments and making it easier to maintain. So that's a quick overview of the workflow product. Now with Web App Builder and Experience Builder, we still find organizations wanting more flexibility, whether it's more hooks to do different operations or more out-of-the-box widgets and so on. And that's where a lot of our customers will then start to consider leveraging our VertiGIS Studio web product, which is a GIS framework that is based on Esri's 4.x JavaScript API using latest and greatest technology, and it just gives you additional hooks and configuration for designing the GIS that you need to deliver to your end users. So this is an example where I'm referencing the same underlying web map in my Web App Builder and my Experience Builder application. But in this scenario, I've used the VertiGIS Studio web product to, create some nice tabbed toolbars and some out-of-the-box tools from, switching between light theme and dark theme, as well as some different hooks for creating work orders. So actually in this scenario, I can go ahead and right-click the map, and I can call any number of different operations here, but I'm going to go ahead and create a work order. And in this scenario, when I log in, we're actually going to buffer that and find any assets that are within that buffer. So in this scenario, we're tying a work order to a specific feature on the map. We can see I've got some trees. Maybe I need to do a tree inspection, some signs. And as I continue to select these different items, you can see we're dynamically showing and hiding the different layers on the map. So again, workflow really does allow you to build these very customized widgets that allow your end users to more easily complete their particular business tasks. And in this scenario, maybe we want to do a tree inspection. So maybe I'll select that maple tree, go ahead and click next. And then basically this will automatically identify the work order template and type associated with it. And then I can say, maybe we need to do some treatment or trim a tree, specify some elements. Again, I could upload another photo if I wanted to. Create a work order, and again, it's going to push that to CityWorks, and then also give me the option to view that information. So if I select this item here, you can see now we've created a work order with our attachments and so on as well. So again, just building a workflow once, being able to deploy it to different environments. Now, one thing also I wanted to highlight is one thing we had in part of our requirements list was creating a dashboard. So if we navigate to the Home tab here, within VertiGIS Web, you can also create different layouts for your application. So in this scenario, I'm going to actually jump to a dashboard layout, which presents me with an interface where I can basically dynamically see the status of my work orders on the map. So we can see I've got 52 work orders that are active. I can view the underlying information and attributes of those work orders. I've got some KPI cards here at the top showing me the types of work orders, and I can also hover over individual features in these charts. And then additionally here, I've got a workflow that actually allows me to filter the work orders on the map. So I could filter by map extent if I want to, and then this will allow me to basically zoom in and out, and you can see these KPI cards and charts are going to update as we continue to zoom the map. And then you can additionally, filter this. Maybe we're not interested in electric work orders, and we can see that the data is being updated on the fly. So here we can see we can use the VertiGIS Studio Web for not only creating work orders, but searching work orders and creating these nice intuitive dashboards. And where this gets built is in this backend web-based designer. So again, you're going to log in with your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise identity. You can start off by selecting one of these different templates that we have available, connecting it to your specific web maps as well. So here we've got a web map picker where you can connect to your web maps and your web scenes hosted in your portal. And then basically you've got the ability to then configure the look and feel of these. So we have this kind of I want to menu, and any really component that you add to the map, you can define where you want it to be located. So we can put it in the top center of the app. We could even throw it in the context menu here. So as we right click on the map, just give me a moment here to right click. We can see we've got an I want to menu control. So again, very configurable. And then also from just a UI perspective as well, if we look at the underlying structure of this, we can get at the raw configuration of all of these individual components here on the right. And we do have the ability to kind of drag and drop these to move different elements around and customize the look and feel of your app. So I don't have time to cover, all of the configuration experience of this tool, but definitely it provides a lot of different hooks for performing different operations. And then it's the same process when you save it. It's going to get stored back inside of your portal in ArcGIS Online content as an item, the same as if you were to save a web app builder application, for example. One thing, the last thing that we had on our requirements list was to create a mobile offline disconnected application. So if we navigate to this app switcher, you can see here are some of our other VertiGIS Studio products, and we have a mobile product. Here I've actually loaded it up on my Windows machine, but it's worth noting that this mobile product works on iOS, Android, and Windows, iPhone, tablet, and so on as well. And it's based on Esri's ArcGIS runtime for .NET. So all of the syncing and downloading of offline data uses Esri's, offline syncing technology. But ultimately, it just provides you with, again, a framework for creating and customizing your offline mobile, experience for your field workers. So you can customize what icons are available, what tools you want to add, the branding experience. And in this scenario, we also have the ability to go offline. So here I've created a couple offline map areas. And one of the things worth mentioning is you can both include mobile map packages for read-only data. So you can see I've got some read-only assets outside of my map area here that I still have access to. And then also editable data as well, within a feature service contained within a web map. Clicking on a feature here, you can obviously retrieve the attribute information while you're offline. And in this scenario, we can also call specific workflows or other, out-of-the-box operations as well. In this scenario, we can link to third-party data sets such as like Bing Maps to get directions. This could be linking back out to Survey 123 or Google Street View, for example. And then in this scenario, I can also call workflows as well from this application in an offline scenario. So in this scenario, I've got a form where I can update my work order. It's currently in progress. Maybe let's, set it to be completed. And we can say, we fixed the main, but maybe let's upload a photo of what the main looked like. And let's go into our first main here. Click Update Work Order. Again, I can adjust and see my creator details and so on. Let's update it, and then here we can see the work order includes our attachment, our updated comments. It's now been completed, and we have the ability to then sync these changes back online. So really quick overview of how you can leverage the VertiGIS Studio products for actually tackling these specific use cases, whether you're working offline or need to create dashboards, integrate with different REST APIs. So hopefully that gives you a really quick overview of how you as a GIS analyst can use these web-based designers instead of having to do custom SDK development to build more intuitive and sophisticated GIS solutions. So I think with that, I do want to save some time for questions. So let's just take a look at our slides here. So again, just in summary, we were able to build an application with Web App Builder for visualizing work orders. And within Web App Builder, we could generate reports based off of our records, and even create custom widgets that integrate with different REST APIs, to building dashboards with using our VertiGIS Studio web product and our mobile product for working offline. So with that, if you do, find this interesting and want to learn more, you can just navigate to that apps.vertigisstudio.com landing page to get access to our software, log in with your ArcGIS Online identity, and it should start a free trial. And we've got just one final poll, and then we're just going to open it up for questions here.
So I know folks are interested in understanding the licensing. So is it possible to license these individually, or is this something that comes in a more of a package style thing?
Yeah, good question. We've got different options available. So for example, if you're using Web App Builder or Experience Builder and you only need workflow for building custom widgets, or like the reporting solution, you can license those individually. The moment you need like at least 2 of those widgets or products, then typically it makes sense to then do a bundle. So we do have a Builder edition where you can get our widgets for Web App Builder and Experience Builder. And then we have like an Enterprise edition where you can not only use these products within Web App Builder, but also you get access to that VertiGIS Studio web product and our mobile framework and so on as well, including the workflow and reporting tools.
That's great. So how customizable is that layer list?
The layer list in VertiGIS Studio Web. So it primarily just references your web map from ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So in the new map viewer, you can create group layers. You have the ability to pull in those group layers, and it'll pull in the symbology of those and so on. So really, we are referencing Esri's, web maps and the grouping and configuration of those layers, and to pull in that spatial data into our apps.
That's great. And I think folks would like to know what other resources are available.
Yeah, in terms of other resources, we do. I've got a couple of links here. We have a community where you can ask questions and watch videos and so on. So recommend checking that out as well. We have a documentation center, so all of our products have docs available with tutorials and just additional information. We do have training as well, so 2-day training courses for our web and workflow courses and reporting courses. It's worth mentioning we do provide SDKs, so even in the event that there's a lot you can do out of the box through configuration, but there are SDKs available if you do need to build custom components or more deeper integrations. And then we also have like a YouTube channel that you can watch videos and so on as well. So.
Perfect. Well, we are out of time. Thank you again to Patrick. We appreciate you sharing your expertise and showing off all the cool demos. And a shout out to Brock for his help with logistics as well. We hope that you go make it a great day. Tell a friend about VertiGIS Studio and Directions Magazine. Thanks, everybody.